In the lead up to the Holocaust, the Nazi Party ordered graffiti like this, what you see there, of the Jewish symbol, the Star of David, to be plastered over Jewish shops and homes, meant to single Jewish people out, to terrify them. These photos are from 1938. This is footage out of Paris, France today. Overnight, around 60 Stars of David were spray painted on buildings in a southern district of Paris. Authorities in France do not know who is responsible or what their motives were, but given the history of the symbol, the act is being investigated as a potential hate crime. Since Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th, some 850 anti-Semitic acts have been reported to the authorities in France. And as of this Sunday, France has made more than 400 arrests for anti-Semitic acts. The rise in anti-Semitism around the world since Hamas's attack on Israel earlier this month is undeniable. We've seen synagogues defaced, anti-Semitic graffiti. Just tonight, a Cornell University student was arrested, charged, after allegedly posting threats online that he would shoot up the university's kosher dining hall. Patrick Dye, a 21-year-old junior at Cornell, allegedly posted messages online threatening to stab and slit the throat of Jews on campus, among other threats. He's scheduled to appear in court tomorrow and faces up to 5 years in prison. The October 7th attack itself was the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust. The terror inflicted from that attack is not just the barbarism of what happened that day, but the reawakening of the deep cultural trauma of the kinds of attacks that Jewish people have faced for centuries. This weekend, hundreds of people stormed an airport in Dagestan. This is in southern Russia. And they held signs that reportedly said things like, "We are against Jewish refugees, and there is no place for child killers in Dagestan." This was after reports of an inbound flight from Israel. They pushed past security. They went onto the tarmac. They were looking for what they believed to be was a plane filled with Jews from Israel, a plane that social media posts had singled out and urged them to confront. Full mob scene. Thankfully, they did not find what they were looking for, but still, at least 20 people were injured. Dozens more were arrested. This event in Dagestan has been called a lot of different things by the press, a protest, a riot, a mob, but there is a very specific word for exactly this kind of ethnically targeted violent mob behavior, particularly against Jews in Russia, a pogrom. Before the Holocaust, the worst massacre of Jewish people was actually a series of hundreds of massacres or pogroms carried out through the Russian Empire and in Europe that killed tens of thousands of Jews over a series of decades. Some of the images we're about to show you are pretty disturbing, so if you'd like to turn away now, you can do so. We've also blurred some of the faces to make these images less graphic. But the horrific nature of these events are a part of this history. We don't want to obscure that. Like what happened in Dagestan this weekend, pogroms were often mobs of civilians, ginned up on some paranoid anti-Semitic media, who sought out Jews specifically to punish them collectively. For decades, Jewish people had their homes destroyed, their property stolen, their families murdered, just because they were Jewish. There was always some conspiracy tied to it all, like when Russians blamed the Jews for the assassination of the Russian Tsar in 1881. But there's also just a deep-seated prejudice against Jewish people that made scapegoating them like that tragically easy. There is now a tragic and enraging surfeit of evidence from around the world that this is still the case. Protesting the actions of the Israeli government is not anti-Semitic, but chasing and harassing Jewish people for any reason in pursuit of any alleged cause is, and its roots are deep as they are evil.